right. This year at UConn basketball, student section has been called out a number of times by Dan Hurley and the team for how they've brought it this season. So joining me today, we've got one of the founders of the Husky Pound, Kyle Garab. He's a senior at UConn. I wanted to dive into all this. So Kyle, welcome onto the podcast.
How we doing? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, of course. I got to start by asking. I know you're a senior. It's been a fun 4 years of basketball for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, I actually transferred in as a junior.
Okay,
I
so
came in
a really good 2 years then.
exactly. Yeah, I came right for the peak. Just by chance, obviously, but yeah, it's been impossible to have anything to complain about so far. So,
So take me through the ideas behind the Husky Pound here. I know you'd been going to games for a couple years now, having transferred in. What got you thinking about doing it?
um, so the Husky Pound wasn't my complete idea. So obviously, I kind of grew my platform on Twitter and even just around campus. I was the first one that showed up in line for the banner night when the home
Yep.
opener. I was the first one in line. UConn students put out a tweet saying Kyle's the first one in line. Ever since then, I got this crazy platform on Twitter, and I've kind of just used it. Um, and I kind of just the student managers of men's basketball also started to kind of recognize like that. I've been camping out every game, and over Christmas break, one of them called me and they're like, "Hey, we have this idea to vamp up the student section." Because they were at Kansas earlier the season in
Yeah.
December, and they just said like Kansas had a fun crowd, and like we want to work our way up there. So they kind of just brought up this idea to me and asked like if they thought it was a good idea, and I said, yeah, absolutely, I'll support it any way I can, and it's been an awesome hit. Waiting in line at UConn basketball games, like in the beginning of the season and last year, it used to just be waiting in line. Now it's just like it's like a football. I don't want to say an Alabama football tailgate, but like it's like a tailgate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
So
mean, we got games and basketball hoops up. People are. It's awesome. It's a good time. So
yeah. So take me through a camp out and what it's like. Take I mean, let's think maybe like college game day, Villanova. What's the camp out like for that?
um, so it's all different. Honestly, a lot of it depends on the weather, the
Yeah.
temperature. Like I'll take you back to the Creighton game where it was
Okay.
15 degrees. Like it was a windy mess. But like they're all like every single camp out there's been so far has just been like a blast. And I mean, I think the longest I've camped out this year was like 14, 15 hours. And that's like not counting the overnight one for college game day.
Yeah.
Because the college game day we were all intense, but like during when the Husky Pound is out on the game days, like all the it started in conference play because before conference play it wasn't a thing, but like they advertise people to get there at like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, and they got a whole like lineup of like stuff to do all day, and like when time is food is coming, and a lot of people on UConn Twitter are funding the food and stuff.
Yeah.
Big Larry is one of the main guys that does it, and so is Pat Lenahan. But I think there's just the main guys that try to organize the money. But from what I've heard, it's a bunch of people on UConn Twitter that are contributing to all of it. And it's just a full day of like preparing for the game.
Yeah.
What really it is. I got lucky this semester because I don't have classes on Wednesdays and Fridays, so I didn't really wasn't really missing classes. A lot of people are definitely missing classes, but yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, it seems like the players have gotten involved with it too. I see a lot on social media. They'll come out and join you guys for a little bit, come say hi. What's that been like?
Yeah, I remember I think it was a Creighton game. Donovan came out for a while, and like when we had like Gansett raps, like like the players will like bring them out. Like I don't know, I remember like Solo Ball, Caravan, Tristan Newton, like they all just come out and they just like say hi. Donovan stuck around for quite a bit the game that he came out, which was pretty cool. But they're all trying to get involved, and even like this kind of elevated like the women's to start doing it too, because what the Notre Dame women's game I camped out for, I remember a bunch of the women's players brought out Gansett wraps for all the students that were waiting in line.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's good to have the players involved because that's honestly what makes the fans the most excited, obviously.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, it seems like the campouts were that became a big thing this year. Then you guys get into the game, and it seems like it goes to it's been taken to a new level this year. What's the inside of the game been like for you guys?
Um, Compared it, so I'm gonna compare it before winter break, after winter break, which is when the Husky Pound started. You can just tell the whole student section like it
Yeah.
acts the major difference. Like you can just tell there's more energy and just the people are just more, and that also might be because the conference play started. But like overall, like there's just way more energy since the Husky Pound has just like came in and attacked.
Yeah. In terms of, I know I've seen sheets going around in terms of like chants and stuff like that. Tell me some of the things you've come up with as the Husky Pound this year to do at games.
The chants, I'm not gonna lie, the chants that we put on the papers haven't fully made it to the rest of everyone yet. Like we had ideas to do like gophers when people are doing the free throw line where you kind of just like jump up and down to like distract them. That
Yeah.
kind of flopped to an extent. The best one we had so far was that we did organize was when we played Marquette when Tyler Kolek was at the free throw line. We like sang the ABCs with all the jokes of him not being able to read and stuff. That was very well organized. But the Husky Pound is definitely off to a good start, but like it's definitely not like we want it to be, especially for a school like UConn, who's
Yeah.
notorious for basketball and everything else. But I actually have very high hopes for the Husky Pound once I'm out of here for it to be like it looks on Kansas and Duke on TV.
Yeah, I know no more home games the rest of this year, obviously. So as you leave and your legacy kind of continues on with the Husky Pound, what do you want to see out of them next year?
Someone's got to take the reins, do the main organizing. That's like the what's somewhat up in the air. Um, but like that's the main part. But overall, it doesn't have to be one student that takes the reins. People got to realize like the Husky Pound isn't like an exclusive group. Like a lot of people like say like, oh, you're in the Husky Pound. To me, but like the Husky Pound is the name for our whole student section.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to like tell people too. Like it's the name of our whole student section. It's a whole school thing. It's not just an exclusive group of people that camp out. And that's kind of what I'm trying to emphasize. But for next year, God, I don't know. I hope with the UConn Twitter keeps it up with funding more food and stuff because the kids love that. And
Yeah.
it's a pain like, oh, I gotta go to Moe's or whatever in downtown Storrs and somebody save my spot. And like just getting fed in line is honestly perfect. And it's awesome that it shows that alum are showing their appreciation for the students there. So I'm gonna be in the alum shoes next year. So I'm gonna have to take out my pocket or take my wallet a little bit. But no, it's definitely good investments for sure.
What's been the best food item that's come your way?
Um, the Marquette game, we got like 50, probably more than 50, maybe like 100 Chick-fil-A sandwiches and like probably 300 nuggets.
There you go. That you're talking my language now.
Yeah, and then we got like 12 boxes of pizza. The Marquette had very good food. Um, we had more than enough. It was awesome. The
Yeah.
Marquette was very fun. And that was in Hartford too. And I didn't have as high expectations for that because it was in Hartford, but it was a really fun time.
I'm going to take a quick break from the interview to tell you about my friends at Martin Rosol's Meats. This fourth generation Connecticut family business produces kielbasa, hot dogs, sausages, and deli meats using Martin Rosol's very own original recipes. Their products can be found in grocery stores, delis, restaurants, and hot dog stands throughout the state. And if you're looking for your fill right away, check out their retail store in New Britain. For more information, visit martinroselsinc.com and go support a UConn fan-owned business. And now, back to the interview. I know there's always a lot of talk about the difference between Hartford and Storrs. From a current student perspective and going back and forth between the two arenas, your thoughts on the two places.
Um, so as a student, I feel like I'm like, oh, all the games should be in stores, but that's partially me being a little stubborn just because it's more convenient, to be honest with you.
Oh,
Uh,
100%.
but I'm not from Connecticut, but my roommate brought up a point that's like, and I kind of agree with him that like Connecticut doesn't have a main like professional sports team that people stand behind, so people kind of stand behind UConn like it's that team. And being that Hartford is the capital of Connecticut, it kind of makes sense to play some games in Hartford because Storrs is kind of like in the middle of nowhere. And Hartford just seems easier to access around Connecticut. So that's my plus to keeping games in Hartford. Overall, obviously, I think everyone likes Storrs better. The Gamble is just like more UConn based, while Hartford is like other stuff as well as UConn basketball. So
Yeah. I think one thing that was really cool is seeing the student section this year, like you get there before the game, like student section's packed, you like well before tip off.
yeah.
Like how cool is that to see from what you've worked towards helping organize to really kind of just see it play out like that and see it really latch on.
No, like yeah, like the Husky Pound has clearly had a huge impact on this. And I don't want to like take credit for it, but I feel like I kind of started a lot of the camping out as well. And I'm not saying people didn't camp out last year because there was tons
Yeah.
of people that camped out last year, but to this extent, I feel like I kind of started something different, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. And it's I think it's an awesome thing because it's really getting people engaged in our teams more, and they deserve all the engagement in the world. They're kicking ass right now. So,
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
the whatever the $2 beer night was for the men's game, then they were sold out way before tip off, and
Yeah.
mainly it was that because of students, because everyone wanted to get those good seats. So
Yeah. No,
it's
for sure.
it's a huge effect.
I gotta ask, as you look back now that the regular season's pretty much over and the home games are over, favorite moment from the season this year that you got to experience in one of these home games?
I keep on going to banner night. I loved banner night. Banner night was so fun. Just seeing the banner itself rise and all the players in their white jackets with the championship logo on it. I thought that was so cool. And I'm obviously a senior. I'm not going to be here next year as a student, but if UConn pulls it off this year again, men's or women's, my I am doing anything I can to make sure I'm at that banner night next year. Even if it's in the middle of the week, because that was such a cool experience.
Yeah, no, it really was, and I think that's one that sticks with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've got to ask about the student section obsession with Andrew Hurley here. I know it was a big deal on Sunday against Seton Hall. He made it in, hit the free throw there to get on the scores sheet there.
Yeah.
How did that all come together?
Um, I feel like Andrew Hurley is just such a likable guy. Uh, just being the coach's kid and like obviously doesn't play that much, so I feel like it kind of makes him even more likable. To be honest with you, Andrew
Yeah,
Hurley has always been my favorite player. I have his jersey actually. I'm like one of the very few people on this school that have an Andrew Hurley jersey. Um, I've actually talked to Andrew about it recently, like just out in public, and I was like, I saw a few Andrew Hurley jerseys the other day. You better know I was the first one. He goes, "Oh no, I trust you. Trust me, I know you were." Yeah, that's my favorite player. But uh, yeah, I don't know. I just think just as being a coach's kid and just like being the guy that checks in at the end of the game just kind of gives everyone something to look forward to. And especially this year, he's been playing in more games than usual because we're
yeah.
blowing teams with water. So
I've got to ask. I know you had a nice sign that got read on game day. What was it like having that pulled out of the crowd in red on?
that was so cool. I held it up nice and high, and before it even got pulled over, Dan looked at me and he goes, "You're gonna make me cry." And then I was like, "Oh, let's go." He acknowledged it. And then one of the reporters at ESPN, I forget her name. It was the female one. She came over to me and said, "Do you care if in the middle of the set we come over and grab your sign?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't care. Go for it. Like that'd be awesome." And then yeah, in the middle of the set, I guess I watched the clip back and she said, "We're gonna go over here and grab this sign." And then everyone saw the clip of Dan Hurley saying, "Oh, you're gonna make me cry. Villanova can't see me cry." I'm not even I didn't even know what he said when he said it. I just pointed at him because he pointed at me. But when I watched the clip back and actually heard what he said, I was like, "All right, that's freaking sweet."
Yeah, a very cool moment. Not everyone gets that. So
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
I've noticed, and I don't know if this is a newer thing or if I just picked up on it now with the increase in the student section, but I think it's pretty cool at the end of the games, it's team and coaches all come over, high five the student section. Is that something that's newer that you guys implemented?
They did. I can only speak for the past 2 years, but they did do that last year.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I do feel like I feel like there's more emotion from the players when they do that this year.
Yeah.
Last year, I kind of remember they were kind of just like, I don't want to. No, I'm not. I shouldn't say they didn't show any emotion because they definitely did. But like, just maybe this might not even be on the Husky Pound. Maybe just the fact that we haven't lost a home game all year. Like,
Yeah.
they're fired up going for the high five line every single time. So, and they don't do it at XL, which kind of sucks. But every Storrs game or Gamble game, they go through the high five line to the front of the student section, and they're just amped. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, you could tell everyone's pretty pumped.
Yeah,
And it helps when they're kicking everyone's ass at home.
I know. Yeah, yep.
But Kyle, I'll wrap with this one. Obviously, can't have you on it and not talk a little basketball. How you feeling? Big East tournament, NCAA tournament time here.
I have no reason not to think that they're not going all the way. I don't think anyone does. What are they, 27-3? That's what they're saying
Yeah,
right now, right? Yeah. I put bets on this team early in the season at good value, and I'm glad I did. I've been telling all my friends, you better bet the Huskies, and now they're saying, "Yo, can we chip out on your bets? Because I'm gonna win a boatload of money." Um, but yeah, there is such a complete team, and like, um, the reason I was telling my roommate this earlier, the reason that like Tristan Newton or Cam Spencer like wouldn't win Big East Player of the Year is because there are so many guys on UConn where it's hard to make your oneself stand out because one guy could go down on this team, and it honestly, it's not going to be like, oh, UConn isn't winning the Natty anymore.
Yeah.
If Zach Edey goes down for Purdue, you could honestly probably cross Purdue off for winning it. There's not a single guy on UConn's team that could go down where we'd be like, all right, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like I definitely decrease our chances, but to the point where we could say we're not winning, there's no shot. And that's why I think that this is a little bit off topic, but the Big East player of the year, I think they want someone that's like carrying their team.
Yeah.
And no one on UConn's basketball team this year for men's is really carrying the team. It's so many players. Like Tristan and Cameron both averaging 15. Alex is in double digits. Donovan's in double digits. Everyone is just
It's
doing
deep.
something.
Yeah.
Insane. Yeah, it's awesome. And Hassan has stepped up big time this year too.
Yeah. No,
And just
it's the yeah. No, it's pretty cool. And hey, if anyone gets snubbed, it only kind of helps put that little chip on their shoulder just a little bit
oh
more.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, you getting to go to the Big East?
So I actually UConn sent out did a lottery system for 25 seniors that checked into 10 Gamble games or 10 basketball games this season, and they got put in a lottery system. And I was one of the winners. So I won
Oh, there.
I won two tickets for $10 each to all three games.
Oh, that's awesome. There you go.
I'm gonna be going to the city on Thursday or no Friday and Saturday if they win, and Friday if they win. And I'm thinking about Thursday. I should be there, but I got other stuff going on at home. But I also should be at Providence on Saturday.
There we go. It's good. We got to have the Husky Pound presence in New York there.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, I'm not. I know the home games are done, but I'm not tapped out of UConn basketball yet. So
and we know MSG are also pretty much home games. So you
exactly,
got to be there representing.
I know Legends is a very fun time beforehand too. I was at
Yeah.
the tournament over Thanksgiving break,
Oh yeah, Empire. Yeah.
Empire Classic, and I was at Legends before, and it's filled with just UConn, just like alums, and it's an awesome time. I'm actually very excited for the Big East tournament.
Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So Kyle, I appreciate it. Good work with the Husky Pound. Make sure everyone on Twitter is following the Husky Pound so they know who to Venmo next year when it's time to help fill the students up with food and drinks there. So
On
Kyle,
Instagram too.
yeah, Instagram too. So Kyle,
Yep.
appreciate it. Thanks so much for coming on and enjoy the tournament.
Thank you so much.